Hello, my name is Xavion Smith, and this is my course-long project, Final Draft, Techniques Used by Hackers. I am in the Summer Online 2120-2 Security Essentials class. In my course-long project, I will be showcasing techniques used by hackers that include but are not limited to social engineering and phishing, reconnaissance and attack tools, and network interception via this instructional demo video format. I will also talk about the best case security practices to combat them. And in my research, I used peer-reviewed articles as well as official government accredited websites and even community articles that taught me best case practices and examples of real world techniques used by hackers. Here is my references page. Here is my outline, where my major topics consist of social engineering and phishing, reconnaissance and attack tools, and network interception, and how they link to human error being the weakest security link, the tools used to conduct attacks and the type of attacks conducted, as well as my subtopics in the bottom. Social engineering and phishing are a means of eliciting information or convincing a user to take action that weakens security to better allow malicious actors to infiltrate the system. And these means are almost always deceptive. One of the most common forms of social engineering is phishing. Phishing could be sending an email, displaying a web announcement, or sending information for a user to click on that tricks the user into thinking it comes from a legitimate source. The best security practices are to restrict access to your network and information systems, and that can be through zero trust, least privilege, any type of discretionary, rule-based or role-based access, implementing measures and procedures to verify the identity of a user. Any type of authentication, maybe multi-factor authentication, SAML, federation, anything that can identify and authenticate a user to make sure they are who they say they are. And here is a real-life example of social engineering in the form of phishing. A real-life example of social engineering and phishing would be when Russian FSB cyber attacker StarBlizzard was conducting spear phishing campaigns within the US and UK. So the overview is that the Russia-based actor StarBlizzard was successfully using spear phishing attacks against targeted organizations and individuals in the UK and other geographical areas of interest for information gathering activity. The profile: since 2019, StarBlizzard has targeted sectors including academia, defense, governmental organizations, NGOs, think tanks, and politicians. And the way they conducted these attacks the fact of the matter was they were using open source resources to conduct reconnaissance, including social media and professional networking platforms. And they would send emails, essentially creating a trust or partnership with their targets. And once they conducted and established that trust, they would then deliver a malicious link. So once trust is established, the attacker uses typical phishing tradecraft and shares a link, apparently to a document or website of interest. And then the link would lead the target to an actor-controlled server, prompting the target to enter account credentials. And not only just account credentials, but they also were allowed to then use session cookies to successfully bypass the use of two-factor authentication, making cookies of any party, but most especially third party, the most dangerous and vulnerable. A real life for reconnaissance and attack tools, hackers use Nmap for port scanning to see which ports are open. Wireshark for capturing and troubleshooting and analyzing, inspecting network traffic before they make their attack. And the best security practices against these tools are to make sure you have the right technology, because hackers target zero-day vulnerabilities as well as any and all outdated technology that they can find. So you always want to use directive controls such as patch management to make sure all systems, servers, networks, and endpoints are up to date. And you also want to make sure, because at the end of the day, your technology can be as new and expensive as you can possibly make it, but it means nothing if all of your employees click on a piece of malware or a link or fall for a phishing scam, and now a malicious actor has access to all of your information and your credentials and server and access. And a real life example of a reconnaissance tool is Wireshark, and you can see here I am clicking on the filter that I want to capture, in the interface I want to capture, I should say, which is Ethernet 2. And here is I stopped the packet capturing. You can see the time, you can see the source IP, the destination IP, the type of protocol used, and the length information. And below that, you can see the frame, how many bytes, the, again, Ethernet port used, which is the second one. That's the interface I'm using, the source MAC address and IP address, the destination, as well as I'm currently, as you can see, I'm on TCP, and the source port is 50765 with the destination port of 443, which is the port number for HTTPS. So a application was querying over a secure web browser search. Network interception is the capture, inspection, blocking, or modification of data. Third-party cookies are especially dangerous and make users vulnerable, as they track any and all, or they globally can track any and all of your credentials, the sites you visit, and they're for sale, as well as malware in the form of eavesdropping. That can be a software or hardware keylogger that can track your keys typed or any words, credentials, passwords, anything you store, as well as your searches. And also malware in the form of masquerade, which can be a Trojan or a rat, which allows malicious actors to install or send malware in the form of something legitimate and safe. Meanwhile, it is actually stored and embedded deep into your system and performing a very negative action that it shouldn't be. And the best security practices against that are to use a secure attribute with cookies over secure HTTPS connection, also known as an HTTP cookie. You also want to secure physical devices, whether that means you have to lock and tag them out, or you need to lock them up when you're done in a locker, take them home with you where no one else can access them, or lock doors behind you. And you also want to keep up-to-date antivirus and anti-malware software. And here is a real-life example of me using antivirus software in Windows Defender, where I first go to my app and browser control and turn on reputation-based protection to stop and block any and all malicious or potentially unwanted apps, files, and websites. I then go over to the virus and threat protection tab, and I run a quick scan of all the files on my computer, and it shows up clean. For my summary, I just want to once again reiterate that hackers use social engineering and phishing through deception to gain information from and or make a user do something that weakens a system so the malicious actor can better infiltrate the system. And the best security practices against this are using the zero trust model or least based privilege or rule based access, as well as any type of authentication, and definitely multi-factor authentication as a specific. I want you to also know that hackers use reconnaissance and attack tools like Nmap to see if ports are open to communication and Wireshark for analyzing network traffic. And the best security practices against this are the directive security controls, like making sure devices are patched with latest updates and semi-annual IT best practice teachings. I also want you to know that hackers launch malware and intercept network traffic and steal sensitive data such as passwords and cookies for malicious intent. And the best security practices against this are to use secure attributes with cookies over a secure HTTPS connection, secure physical devices, and to make sure to keep up-to-date antivirus and anti-malware software. And that is the end of my Techniques by Hackers project. I truly do hope I was able to teach you as best as I possibly could the ways and techniques that hackers use to modernize, or in the modern world, hack and infiltrate systems, and the best case practices against them. My name is Xavion Smith, and I thank you for watching.